my name is Julia, and in this clip we will talk about music and movies, the United Kingdom. Let's go with you, Luis.
Hi everybody, good afternoon. My name is Luis Rodriguez and today we're gonna talk about music in England. As we know, the United Kingdom is the union of four countries: England, Scotland, North Ireland and Gales. But today we're gonna only talk about the music in England, alright? So let's get started. British popular music and popular music in general can be defined in a number of ways, but is used here to describe music which is not part of art, classic music or church music traditions like folk music, jazz, pop and rock music. These forms of music have particularly flourished in Britain, which it had been argued and influenced popular music disproportionately to the size. Parts of this due to its linguistic and cultural links with many countries, particularly the former areas of British control such as the United States, Canada and Australia, but also a capacity for invasion, innovation and fusion, which has led of development of participation in many of the major trends in popular music. This is particularly true since the early 1960s, when the British invasions, led by the Beatles, helped to secure British performers as a major place in development of pop and rock music, which has been revised at various times, with genres originating in or being radically developed by British musicians, including the genres of blues rock, heavy metal music, progressive rock, punk rock, British folk rock, folk punk, acid jazz, drum and bass, grime, dubstep and Britpop. It's like British pop. By the 1950s, a lot of forms of popular music were already giving way to the influence of American forms, including jazz, swing and traditional pop, mediated through film and records. A significant change of the middle of the 1950s was the impact of American rock and roll, which provided a new model for performance and recording based on a young people. Initially, this was dominated by Americans, but soon distinctly British forms began to appear. First in the uniquely British take on American folk music in the skillful craze of the 1950s, in the beginnings of a folk revival that came to place an emphasis on national tradition, and then in early attempts to produce British rock and roll. By the early 1960s, the British has developed a viable national music industry and began to produce adapted forms of American music, in beat music and British blues, which will be re-exported to America by bands such as the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Also, the development of British blues helped to grow the rock music and led to the growing distinction between pop and rock music. In the 80s, rock and pop music built on the post-punk and new wave movements, incorporating different sources of inspiration for some genres and what is now classed as world music, in the shape of Jamaican and Indian music, as did British jazz, as a series of Black British musicians came to prominence in jazz. It also explored the consequence of technology and social change in the electronic music. Also, the heavy metal music continued to develop separately. There was a considerable crossover between rock and more commercially popular music, with a large number of more serious bands like the Police and UB40 enjoying considerably single chart success. Also, in the middle of 80s, the band Queen was the most important band in the British country. At the beginning of the new millennium, while talent show contestants were on the major force in pop music like X Factor, British soul maintained and even extend its high profile line with figures like Joss Stone, Amy Winehouse and Adele, while a new group of singers, songwriters including Katie Tunstall and James Blunt achieved international success, and to rock bands such as the Arctic Monkeys, Coldplay, and Bring Me the Horizon. New forms of dance music emerged, fusing hip hop with garage to form grime. There was also a revival of garage rock and post-punk, which when mixed with electric music producing new rap. The most popular bands between 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014 was One Direction, Little Mix, Adele, and Mumford & Sons. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed.
It was very interesting, Luis. See you. What can you tell us about British music? The British film industry is one of the most represented in the world. Below I will mention which are the best British movies you have to see. Number 1. Movies of the Agent 007. The fictional British Secret Intelligence Service has been used the longest run and most financial successful English language franchise to date. The first Bond movie was based on another his novels of the same name, Doctor No. Casino Royale was not made a movie until 2006. With About Is Though It Is, a classic of British cinema. Number 2. Another famous British film series is Harry Potter. These movies are based on the book series of the same written J.K. Rowling. They use the adventures of the wizard boys and their friends, the early of the evil plans of the Voldemort. It is the most successful film series, and all 8 movies are the top 50 of the most grossers movies of the times. All the main actors in the 8th film were from United Kingdom. Almost all the actors picked of the main characters appear in the movies. The exception was the Lord Rich Harris, who died before the 3rd movie started shooting. This was all because of today's clip. We see people